create a new project. So the first thing you have to do is to create a new project. Okay. Then so you create a new project. I created SSS as a new project. After you create the project, you start adding the files. So I'm going to add some files. This one. So these are the files that we're going to add to our query course. So we now have 6 sources. So we have, if you look at Quercus, yung file nga in-add natin, nandito na lahat, no? Diyan na, makikita na natin siya dyan. In Quercus. And you will notice that meron nga tayong isang file na PDF file. Okay? So those are the files. Okay. To look at the statement of the problem that you have. So we start by looking at the statement of the problem. Right? What can you see the statement of the problem?
Yes, Dean.
Okay, so this is the statement of the problem. So the problem is, how does the punong barangay understand the roles as the chief executive in the barangay level on the concept of administrative, adaptive, and enabling leaderships? So notice that the statement of the problem have some important keywords. You have administrative, adaptive, and enabling. All right. So we go back to Quercus and we create a code. You have administrative as one code. Administrative. Okay. And you have to assign that as a group and call it problem 1. All right. So this is the concept administrative can be further defined by saying this refers to administrative behavior of barangay captains. Save it. And you already have one code here, administrative. Can you follow?
Yes, Dean.
Yes,
Okay,
Dean.
so the next was enabling, the word enabling. Am I right?
Adaptive.
Enabling.
Yes, Dean.
Huh?
Adaptive enabling din.
Enabling also belongs to problem number 1. So you save it. You already have enabling here. All right. And the third one is adaptive. Am I right? So you also
Yes, Dean.
create adaptive. Save it. So you now have 3 codes under problem number 1. Okay? Can you follow?
Yes, Dean. Follow, Dean.
Now we look at problem number 2. Problem number 2, how does the punong barangay describe their experiences in fulfilling their encompassing action based on administrative. Okay, in the following areas. So, ano ba yan? Executive, legislative, quasi, judicial. So you create a code which is quasi judicial. Okay, and this time you now create another group, which is problem 2, right?
Yes.
And so this now is part of problem 2, quasi-judicial, right?
Yes, Dean.
So, ang ginawa ko nito, sinortcut ko na lang yung process. Otherwise, hindi kaya talaga matapos. Tama ba, Aldrin?
Yes, sir.
Aldrin?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next one is administrative. Tama ba yun? Administrative.
Executive din. Executive.
Executive pala. Executive. And this one goes to problem number 2, right? Save. So you now have executive here. And the third one is, ano ba ito, Sarah?
Legislative din.
Legislative.
Legislative.
And we put that into problem number 2 as well. So you now have 3 codes under problem number 2, right?
Yes,
Now
Dean.
we look at problem number 3. What are the sentiments of the stakeholders na barangay in terms of administrative, adaptive, ano ba itong problem na ito? Towards ba ne? Towards siguro, no? Towards co-barangay officials. Okay, so create tayo ng code. Anong ilalagay natin na code dito? Sentiments, right? And we create problem number 3, right?
Yes, Dean.
So that's problem number 3. And it's a new group. Okay. Close. Okay. So this belongs to problem number 3, yung sentiments. We go to the next problem is how do the punong barangay experience fulfillment and challenges in how do they cope with challenges? So we go again here and sige. We add for problem number 4, it has something to do with challenges, right?
Yes, Dean.
Challenges.
Yes, Dean.
And this is now problem number 4. Okay, new group. Close. So we now have problem number 4. Teka, ano ba yun? Challenges is problem number 4. If you commit a mistake, you just edit it and put it into problem number 4. Save. Right? So far, klaro ba?
Yes, Dean.
Yes, Dean. Klaro, Dean.
So are you learning something here? Wala pa.
Yes, Dean.
Yes, Dean.
How does help? Okay, so ito naman, how it helps. So, gawa tayo ng code na naman dito. At siguro para how help na lang, no? How help. And we create a new group. How help. Pareho lang naman, no? New group. And we activate this into problem number 4. Save. So all in all, we have already codes for our quercos, right? Now the next step, okay? So we now look at interview number 1. So this is interview number 1 referring to barangay captain. So for this, so interview number 1, this is barangay captain. So for interview number 1, you have to add properties, right? So this is captain 1, right? And you can add a value. Ano ba itong barangay siya, ma'am? Captain 1. Sabihin na natin ano siya sa north. So you can add a property. Let's say for instance, si Captain 1 is from Barangay North. And you add his age. You can add the age. Say he is 23, he's 45 years old. Okay? And you can even add his tribe. Say he is a Bisaya. So importante itong mga properties because this would give you the demographic profile of your respondents. Okay, may question so far? Wala.
Wala din.
Klaro ba? Klaro?
Yes din, klaro din.
Dito siya, dito ka mag-add
Yes,
ng
din.
mga properties na yung in-interview. Okay? Now, let's look at the data. You have here, so we have captain. Then we look at employee number captain 2. Ito si captain 2, no? Captain 2. Captain 2, ganun rin. Pwede mo na siyang palitan yung pangalan, Captain 2. And then you can now add a new value to Captain 2 and say he is from South. Are you following? Can add a new value
Yes,
for age and say he is 55 years old. Can add a new value for tribe and say he is Bisaya, Ilonggo ito. Okay. You can add as many properties to your respondents. Okay. Liwanag ba so far? Aldrin, klaro ba Aldrin?
Yes, sir. So far, sir.
Okay, klaro, no? Then we look at ito si employee number 1. Employee number 1. Si employee 1. Okay, and he comes from Barangay North. His age, maybe he is 22 years old. Okay, and the tribe is Bisaya. So this is your respondent number 1. Am I going too fast, Aldrin, or tama-tama lang ni Aldrin?
Tama-tama lang, sir.
Tapos tanaw na to ng imuhang literature review. And this is the complexity theory, leadership theory. This does not apply na. So ito hindi na ito. No? So, tanggalin mo na yan siya kasi hindi naman yan siya ang values dyan. So, dali lang. Hindi siya matanggal eh. But you can add a value. Say year of publication. Okay, and let's say it was published in 2008. So you have to look at your reference and name of publication. So this is now your journals. So what you're going to do is you have to add all your references in Quercus so that you can use them in your analysis. Okay, so let's now go to so let's look at Barangay Captain number 1. Captain, employee, captain. Okay. So we are now coding Captain number 1. Are you following now?
Yes, Dean.
Oh. So sabi ni Captain number 1, when I became the barangay captain, I know I should not be complacent. People gave me this big responsibility. With the guidance where I studied the old system of the barangay captain before, we continue to do the good practices and programs from the previous administration. Then we improve the things that were lacking. So when I became the barangay captain, I know I should not be complacent. So saan natin siya ilalagay? So pwede ito siya, itong sentence. Halimbawa lang naman ito, no? Ilalagay natin sa adaptive. Because he said he tried not to be complacent. Tama ba? People gave me this big responsibility. With the guidance of the Lord, I studied the old system of the barangay captain before. Pwede ito siya, itong people gave me the big responsibility. Anong ibig sabihin niya dito? That he is a responsible person? Ha? So kung hindi mo siya malagay dito sa ginawa mong earlier code, you can create a new code and place their sense of responsibility as a code and put it to problem number 1 because the code has something to do with problem number 1. Tama ba, Sahara? Sinong may tanong so far? So the responsibility is already here as a code. With the guidance of the Lord, I studied the old system of the barangay before. So, paano to i-code natin? Pwede natin siya ilalagay sa adaptive. Di ba? Ayan. This one, ginagay na natin ito sa adaptive kanina. Baka lang hindi na, ito na pala, adaptive na siya. We continue to do the good practices and programs of the previous administration can be placed under adaptive. Then we improve the things that we were lacking. Ano yung improve? So this one, kung hindi mo makita ng code, magawa ka ng another code and add another one. Let's say gusto mo gawin yung innovation, innovative leadership. So lalagay mo siya under innovation. Ito yung innovation kanina. Okay? You will notice that dito na meron na siyang mga kulay-kulay indicating na may mga na-assign na codes sa paragraph na yan. Okay, as of na may tanong ba? May tanong?
And so far, Dean.
Ha? Klaro, Danlim?
Klaro, Dean.
Jan, Imba, Klaro?
Yes, sir.
Luri, Bagatilya, sabot ka, wala?
Klaro, sir.
Klaro, Dean.
Sayon ra kayo, no? Second paragraph. As the barangay captain, we need to be fair. Kung ano to? We need to be fair. The we need to be fair can be placed under administrative style, di ba? So, pwede mo siyang ilalagay sa administrative. Ayan. So may kulay na kaagad, no? Basic services should be provided immediately to the people. So ano, saan mo ito ilalagay? Basic services should be provided to the people. Could be placed under administrative, but this could also be placed under the sense of responsibility. Kasi dalawang statement, no? If people are fighting, it should be responded immediately. So saan yan? It could be coded as dito sa quasi-judicial. Okay. Pwede mo siya ilalagay sa quasi-judicial. Justice should be served immediately, would be placed under the quasi-judicial. Okay. So no one of your roles is to solve the complaints to keep it from becoming any longer. So this is, again, will fall under quasi-judicial role of the barangay captain. Okay. During the monthly meeting of all the staff, they will identify the shortcomings and the responsibilities during the month. This has something to do with administrative style, so you put that under administrative. The system of the barangay is smooth because we can check and balance right away all the things. Something to do with administrative, could also be placed under executive. Ito na lalagay sa executive. Every January, we conduct a survey to update our RDI based on how we have a population. Okay, so what is this? This has something to do with, ano yan? Kung hindi mo makita, gawa ka ng another code, knowledge management. Halimbawa, no? Knowledge management is one of its principles. Save it. And sana ba yung ito, knowledge management? Lagay mo dyan. Profiling is ongoing but before 15 to 30 are 30,000. So, ayan. So, lalagay mo doon sa knowledge management. It really increases rapidly. Would be knowledge management. If there's a conflict in the admin, all of them will be called so that they can all hear what I will say and they will all know what to do. So ano to? Saan natin lalagay ito? Lagay natin siya sa quasi-judicial. Tama ba? Pero pwede mo rin siya ilagay sa administrative style. Tama? So it's not one-on-one. In general, it's an open discussion so they will be aware about the problem. So this is his management style. So lalagay mo siya sa administrative. It's also the same when it comes to the counselor. I'm also fair. Their work is only fair. Okay, so management style niya ito. Anong klaseng management style yan? Being fair. Dealing and listening to the suggestions. So that could fall under what? Could fall under management style, administrative style. Pwede mo ilalagay sa administrative. Pwede mo rin siyang ilalagay sa executive. Pwede mo rin siyang ilagay sa legislative because it has something to do with the councilors, right? So marami ka ng code yan. I gave them chances to go on the field and authorize them to solve the problems there. This is a management style, di ba? So ito siya, pwede ka mag-code ng another code dyan na something to do with delegation, no? Delegation. And save. So ito, so it's not only I gave them chance, so will be Saan ba yung kanina? Delegation. Ito. Lalagay natin siya sa delegation. Yan. I want the council to learn because time will come, they will now become leaders. My position is not permanent. So, ito, something to do with his relationship with the council. So, legislative. Okay, so you see, this is how the coding process is done. Now, after assuming na na-code mo na yan, so hindi naman ganun kadali mag-code. It would take you several nights to analyze the statements.
Yes, Dean.
So, but I'm just showing to you how it is done. Parang example lang. But you will be spending a lot of reflection on the answers and how you're going to code the answers. And sometimes you have to go back to your literature review to understand how to code the response. Okay ba? So, klaro ba, Charles?
Yes, Dean.
Yes, Dean.
Klaro. So, let's go to your interview number 2. So, tingnan natin yung number 2 mo, si Kuan. Ano to? Barangay Captain. So, yeah. Employee na naman. Yung number 2 na barangay Captain, tingnan natin. Is employee 2, Captain 2. So, let's look at Captain number 1. Ayan. Ito si Captain number 1. Si Captain 1 naman. So, I will not read this because we don't have a lot of time. But let me just say, halimbawa, ito, ilalagay mo sa administrative, ilalagay mo ito sa sense of responsibility, ilalagay mo siya sa enabling. Ayan. This one, ilalagay mo sa administrative, ilalagay mo siya sa executive. Halimbawa lang ito, ha? So, nag-coding ka na, ha? I'm just showing to you how to do it faster, di ba? So, halimbawa yan, diyan na siya. Yan. So, after nagka-code ka na, marami ka na na-code na mga documents. So, lahat yan, i-code mo. So, you go through all your files and you start putting them in the proper code. So, halimbawa, ito si employee number 1. In-interview mo tapos ito naman, halimbawa, ang code niya, ilalagay mo dito. So, you can have as many codes as you like, provided na magre-reflect yung mga codes sa mga actual statements ng mga respondents. Okay. Finally, you'll also look at all your references. Halimbawa, ito yung theory references natin. And, halimbawa, itong libro na ito, this one, itong libro, itong statement na ito ng reference has something to do with sense of responsibility. This one, something to do with administrative. This one, yan, something to do with enabling. Ano na ito, ha? Yung mga libro mo na ito na nabasa. So, let's say, ang dami mong references ilalagay dito. Kasi kailangan mo yan when you analyze your data. So, that's it. So, meron ka ng code sa employee. So, may mga coding na sa employee, may coding ka na sa barangay captain, captain 1, may coding ka na sa captain 2. So, kompleto na, may mga codes na lahat. And as I earlier said, this is not an easy process. It takes time for you to code them. Ano ang next step nito? Meron ka ng code, no? So the next step is to view. Tingnan mo yung mga codes mo. Okay? And you can look at codes as a tree. Ito yung mga codes mo na arranged like a tree. You will notice dito that dito sa administrative there are 10 codes. Pag i-click mo, makita mo lahat all about administrative. Ito. Ito siya, lahat yan about administrative. Ito yung mga quotations. Ito yung sinabi ni Kapitan, ito yung sinabi ni Kapitan 2, at ito yung sinabi ni Complex Leadership Theory about administrative. So you will notice na lahat yan, lahat ng mga na code mo ay dinagay niya sa isang document. So when you start analyzing what is administrative leadership, you can now combine ano yung sinabi ng literature review, ano yung sinabi ni Barangay Captain 1, Barangay Captain 2, at ni Employee 1. Kasi nandyan lahat sila. Isang dokumento na lang lahat yan, which will serve as a basis for your analysis. Tama ba, Ma'am Sara? So there's no need for
Yes,
you
Dean.
Ha? Oh, hindi na muna isa-isahin yan kasi igugrupo na ni Quercus yung mga sagot ng iba't ibang sources when you talk about administrative. Tama ba, ma'am? Sabot mo, wala.
Yes, Dean. Kasabot, Dean.
So there are 10 quotations about administrative. Okay? When you click enabling, there are 17 quotations about enabling. So when you click that, nandun na naman lahat na sinabi ng literature about enabling, anong sinabi ni Kapitan, Kapitan 1, Kapitan 2, Employee 1, Employee 3. So, may sinabi sila about enabling which will be the basis in writing your discussion about the concept of enabling in your chapter 4. Can you follow, ma'am? Ma'am Sarah?
Yes, Dean.
So we go back to home. Click mo lang yung home para mabalik ka doon. So if you look at the tree perspective, from the tree view, so ang pinakamaraming codes are administrative, followed by enabling, followed by quasi-judicial. So 10 for administrative, 7 for enabling, 5 for quasi-judicial, and the rest adapted 3, 2. So na-mention siya pero hindi masyadong marami ang nasabi about that. But there are 8 codes for sense of responsibility and 3 codes for 3 codes for knowledge management. So when you try to analyze, answer problem number 1, base dito sa illustration ko, ano ang lumabas na pinaka-importanting konsepto for problem number 1? Sahara. Kasi ang problem number 1 mo, Ma'am Sahara, is how does the punong understand the roles? Okay, so ano yung problem 1 mo, Ma'am Sahara? Aldrin,
Yes, sir.
tama ba ko? Ano yung, basahin mo daw yung problem number 1 ni Ma'am Sahara, Aldrin.
How does the punong barangay understand their roles as the chief executive in the barangay level on the concept of administrative, adaptive, and enabling leadership?
Sa problem number 1, ano ang pinaka-importanting concept na lumabas?
Administrative, sir.
Yes, because it was mentioned 10 times. Maraming nag-answer about administrative. So, the concept of administrative may be a very important concept for your respondents as far as your respondents are concerned. Kasi yun ang pinaka maraming responses na nakuha. In qualitative research, no, naghahanap tayo ng pinaka-frequently mentioned na mga terms because these are the most important terms that emerged in your research. Tama ba, Adren?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Yes, sir, kasbot. Makikita rin ninyo na yung administrative ang pinaka-tambok. So kung mas daghan o nag-code, mas mudako siya, mudako ang circle. Meaning to say, this is an important concept.
Yes,
So,
sir.
base diri sa atong drawing, asa may pinaka-importanting concept?
Administrative, sir.
Tapos, enabling seems to be also very important kay tambok man siya.
Yes po.
And sense of responsibility, tambok. At saka quasi-judicial. So, pwede mo na siyang i-arrange. Apparently, ito yung mga importanteng konsepto na lumabas sa interview. Kasi yun ang mga daghan of responses. Okay. So, nasabtan niyo na. Of course, dugay na siya nga process. Sometimes you have many codes. Minsan may 500, 400 codes ka dyan. And you as the researcher has to decide ano ang mga importanteng codes na dapat mong i-highlight sa iyong report. So, meaning to say, maraming sinabi yung mga respondents related to that particular code. Okay? So, let's now go back to view. I-click mo lang yung works as 3. Teka, dali lang. May isa kasi dito na wala itong untitled. I-delete natin yung untitled. So, you just right-click, delete. I-delete ko na rin itong iba kasi hindi naman natin ito na-code, no? So that we will just focus on yung may mga codes na tayo. Okay. So ito yung na-code na natin ng mga concepts. We have concepts about administrative. We have concepts about sense of responsibility, enabling, knowledge management, something like that. Now we start looking at these codes. You start to analyze. Ito na yung tinatawag natin na conceptualization. Administrative is a very important concept. Sense of responsibility is also a very important concept. Enabling is also a very important concept. Quasi-judicial, innovation, and knowledge management may also be very important concepts. And the two are not so important. Can you follow, ma'am? Ma'am Sarah?
Yes, Dean.
So you can actually move around your quirks. so that you can start conceptualizing. Paano ko kaya, remember this is all answering problem number 1. Kasi ang na-code natin ay problem 1 pa lang. So, what is important in problem number 1? If you are going to analyze, summarize, how does the punong understand the roles as a chief executive in the barangay level on the concept of administrative, adaptive, and enabling leadership? What is our answer to that question based on our drawing? Aldrin.
Yes, sir. Based on the drawing here, it shows that the role of the barangay captain in the concept is from first administrative, enabling, and the sense of responsibility.
Very good. You see? So, napakadali kasi siyang i-visualize. Kasi ano na siya eh. Pag dumadami kasi ang sinabi, lumalaki yung circle. Tama ba, Sahara? So, what is the answer to problem number 1?
It shows din that the punong barangay understands their role as a chief executive more on the administrative concept
Enabling.
and also enabling and sense of responsibility.
Sense of responsibility, di ba? So that is one theme. That is one theme that you can pursue in discussing your problem number 1. Okay ba, Ma'am Sahara? Are you following?
Yes, Dean. Yes,
Okay.
Dean.
Oh, so yun ang unang theme. Now let's look at the theme more in detail. Tingnan natin siya. Ano ba ang laman nung theme na yan? So ang sinasabi natin, administrative, enabling, and sense of responsibility ang kanilang paningin sa kanilang trabaho bilang barangay captains. Can you follow, Ma'am Sara? Apparently, yun ang importante. Tingnan natin ano yung laman sa argumento na yan. Yan ang sinasabi mo, paano mo yan siya patunayan. So, when we click, dapat dito, pag pinili mo si problem number 1, ito lang ang lumabas. Tama na ito. Ito lang yung concept na, so we can view this as 3. Ito na yung all about problem number 1. Okay? And so, ang tanong, ano ba ang laman nitong mga sinabi nila sa administrative, sa enabling, sa sense of responsibility, innovation, knowledge? Sino yung nagsabi niyan? So you go to query and query. Then, halimbawa, barangay captain. Pwede mo pa siyang dagdagan ng iba. Source title pa rin dito. Source title. And you can add here barangay captain 2. Source title. And we are now comparing the concept of several concepts as mentioned by the barangay captain, captain 1, captain 2, and employee 1. So when we click enabling, lalabas yung mga sinabi ng enabling. So sino bang nagsabi ng enabling? Si Kapitan 1 lang pala ang nagsabi about enabling. So itong number 3, okay. Sense of sense of responsibility. Captain 1 pa rin ang nagsabi niyan. Administrative. Teka. Compare pala. Okay, so ito pala, no, i-click pa natin yung ito single, yung isa lang tingnan mo. So pag Captain 1, ito, Captain 2, itong sinabi ni Captain 2, employee, ito yung sinabi ni employee. Captain 1, pause. Okay, the concept here is when, kasi gamay lang magutang na code, pero kung daghan na magma-code, you can actually set up several queries and compare the answers of the different respondents in the query section of the quercus. So you can compare answers. Gamay ra magutag code, so dili kayo ka-compare. Ito, sense of responsibility, labas lahat yan. Executive, labas lahat yan. Quasi-judicial, labas yung sinabi lahat. Ayan. Pero dito sa kabila, wala tayong malagay kasi baka wala pang code masyado. So after all that you have done, you can start exporting your report. So punta ka dito sa export and you click create report, and Quercus now will create the report for you. So the report will contain all your sources summary, the demographics to the respondents, the barangay, the tribal groupings, and the canvas, as well as the quotations. So you can then copy this in your Word file for further analysis. Okay? So, kumpleto lahat yan. Nandiyan na lahat. So yung reports. Another potential is to use export, and you can create a word cloud. And the word cloud now will give you the most important words or the most frequently used words that were mentioned in the study. So these are the most important words that were repeatedly mentioned by your respondents. You can use this again for your analysis. Okay? So yun ang steps na gagawin natin. Klaro ba, Aldrin?
Yes, sir.
So asa naman ta karon? Asa naman mo karon nga level? Coding pa. Tama ba, Aldrin? Coding pa ka, Aldrin?
Yes, sir. Coding pa, sir.
Oh. Kung napaka dire-ren, code pa ka, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Ini nga stage, mo na ginatawag nato nga categorization. No? Nag-categorize ka na sa mga sagot, ipang grupo-grupo na nimo. And then from here, you can start developing your themes, and then your theory, and then you start preparing your outline and your report. Ito siya ang process. So, sa tingin ba ninyo, kaya nyo ito hanggang katapusan? Ma'am Sahara? Sahara?
Dili din.
Ha?
Ay, paningkamutan din.
Kaya nga, binigyan ko lang kayo ng paano gawin siya na mapitisan para magawa nyo ito, di ba? So, si Mel, Lani,
Hi, sir.
Mel, pila ka gabi ka nag-coding, Mel?
Ano, sir? 2 nights to, sir. Pero murag mas nalisudan ko sa thematic building, sir.
Categorization, pila ka adlaw na eh.
Appeal na siya, sir, sa 2 kaadlaw.
So, punta na to 1 day. Sila kay part, di man sila full time, so 2 days. Thematic building, pila ni kadlaw?
Magtulo na ko karon, sir.
Wala pa mo na humano.
Karon mahuman na ni siya, sir, pero lisod siya, sir. So murag sa thematic building magud, sir, dapat sa pag-coding pa lang daan, ano na, kanang tama gud siya, sir. Especially ang mga codes nga naa sa pag-code nimo. Kay kung mag-create kag teams tapos ang codes nga nabilong sa teams nga na nya iyang codes wala day nagabangga sa title sa imong code, murag dili po siya magbangga sa imong team. So dapat dugtong-dugtong yun siya, sir.
Kaya kailangan pag-isipan siya mabuti. And then,
Yes po.
sa theory development, allocate another 3 days. Yung theory, hindi naman kailangan mahaba yan. Actually, you can base the theory all existing theories. You can, siguro sabihin mo, may kunti lang modification yung mga theories na nabasa ko, di ba? Or sabihin mo, okay man yung theory na ginamit ko, pero naalay gamay nga na changes. I have to adapt. Di ba, Mel?
Yes po.
One is 1 day. So remember, every problem has to be answered. So if you have 5 problems, dapat may sagot ka sa lahat na problems. Report writing may take you 5 days. Siyempre, hindi naman yan madalian mag-report kasi sa report ninyo dapat may mga quotations rin kayo sa mga respondents. Sa site mo rin yung mga references. Kaya ni Sarah?
Din kining mangutana ko din kining categorization, thematic building og theory development i-mention yun na tanan sa ano din sa report.
Hindi naman mo i-mention kay makita man na sa imuhang panel kung na ba kay categories o na ba kay theory, makikita man na sa imong pagsulat. Diba? So, halimbawa, sa problem number 1, sabihin mo, based on the interviews, the following themes emerged in my study. Number 1, administrative barangay captains look at their jobs more as executive and as peacemakers. Ayan, so that's one theory that you are going to prove in number 1. So you have to write ano yung sinabi nila and then supplement yung sinabi nila with literature review. Intindihan mo, ma'am?
Yes, din.
Kasi ito, nasa methodology mo naman ito. Sa chapter 3 naman ito. Ito man ang process. Oh. So ito yung pinaka-crucial. Now, at the end of your chapter, you can say that the research confirms the theory of behavior change. No, the theory of Bandura, that blah, 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 leadership is like this, like that. However, in the case of General Santos City, there are some variations of the theory as shown in the in-depth interviews and the focus group discussions. Yan ang style sa pagsulat mo. Nagtanim mo, Sarah?
Yes, Dean.
So nakita ninyo na very logical ang process. Coding, categorization, thematic building, theory development. Pag naayos mo na lahat yan, then you can start writing your outline. So this will decide how long your chapter 4 would be. Halimbawa, sa isang problema, kailangan mo ng 10 paragraphs for problem number 1, 10 paragraphs for problem number 2, 10 paragraphs for problem number 3. So, mabudget mo na yung time mo dyan. No? Ilang gabi ka na hindi matulog. Ilang gabi ka nga hindi magsuroy-suroy. And then you start writing your report. So, dito sa writing of the report, dapat ito na ang trabaho ni advisor ninyo. Dapat i-guide ninyo siya, i-guide kayo paano sulatin yung report base sa outline na sinabi ko. So, I can just imagine that there will be back and forth draft between you and your advisor until the advisor is satisfied with the way you answered your research problem in chapter 4. Tama ba, Larnie?
Yes, sir. Bali, sir, sa outline, sir, kung mag-submit sa advisor, ang ibutang lang is ang mga research questions tapos ang mga answers ni mo based sa imong sir.
Actually, in my case, I will no longer even look at the outline. Because the outline is your guide in writing.
Okay,
Diba?
sir. Yes, sir.
When you submit to me your chapter 4, I will ask for the outline. How did you develop your chapter 4? And then we'll look at the chapter 4 if it answers your problem. Problem 1 was answered, problem 2, problem 3, problem 4. Diba? I will not even look at the grammar because meron naman tayong editor na titingin sa grammar ninyo. Na?
Yes po.
Ang titingnan ko lang is nasagot mo ba yung problem mo? Saka meron bang sense yung sinusulat mo na may mga supporting interviews ba yan or quotations, yung mga sinulat ninyo. Klaro ba?
Klaro, sir. Salamat, sir.
Naklaro na sa inyo, Juan o Mr. Lim? Napa ba si Mr. Lim? Ikaw, Ma'am Sahara, klaro ra?
Din, klaro naman hinuon din. Pero katong, bitaw din, katong sa thematic building o katong sa theory development din ba? Kanang kinahanglan yun di mo siya isuwat para maski dili mo siya ibutang sa imong outline gyud mo siya isulat gyud mo siya as kanang basis sa imong pagsulat sa report din no isa-isahon gyud maski pila ka theory imong ma-develop.
Oo, tama. Pero dapat mo fall siya sa problem 1. So sa problem 1 mo sa imong theory. Sa problem 2, what is your theory? Kasi theory building mo ng qualitative research, you develop your own theoretical explanations. No? So kung phenomenological research siya, ano ba ang kahulugan ng mga sagot ng iyong mga respondents? That is phenomenological. No? Ang thematic, yun bang mga ang sagot nila, nag-fit in ba yun sa yung mga references na sinite sa chapter 2? Diba, Aldrin?
Yes, sir.
Ha?
Yes, sir.
Oh. Actually, mas madali yung thematic kasi sa tingnan mo man lang kung napipit ba siya sa chapter 2 o hindi. Iba yung lumabas sa survey sa yung study. No? Iba ang results.
Din, last na lang po na question.
Hmm.
Din, katupit akong article na i-upload sa Queer Course, mas kintila lang man din, no? Tapos hindi naman kinahanglan to siya i-code.
Ay, i-code din mo to siya.
I-code, hapon ang
Kasi pag nag-query ka na, kasi halimbawa, lumabas doon sa iyong coding na maraming nagsabi about sense of responsibility. Doon sa mga references mo, isi-search mo yung word na sense of responsibility. Doon sa PDF files ba? Ano yung sinabi ng mga authors about sense of responsibility? Diba? Tapos yung isa naman yung ano tawag doon? Yung peacemaker or peacemaker. Ano naman ang sinabi ng mga libro about peacemaker? Mahirap man yan, hanapin mo doon sa sa yung mga files, hanapin mo pa, i-upload mo na lang doon sa Quercus para meron kang guide sa pag-analyze. Kasi dito sa query, hindi ko lang mapakita, dito sa query, pag nag-query ka kasi, lalabas lahat, halimbawa, query ka, no? And then, you add all, mag-add ka ng mga source title lahat. Dito yung kapitan, tapos mag-add ka na naman source title. Ito yung employee. Pag nag-ano ka nito, ma'am, pag in-update mo yan, lalabas ang dapat kasi lalabas lahat ang i-query mo dito eh.
Pero dili na kinahanglan i-word for word ang coding sa sa katong gi-upload nimo na RRL. Dili na kinahanglan i-word for word na i-code tong RRL, no?
Paragraphs na lang siguro. Para dali ra. Paragraphs. So, halimbawa, paragraph 1 is about responsible leadership. Paragraph 2 is about innovation. Ang purpose naman na pag sulat nimo sa imong chapter 4, dali ra po nimo ma-cite tong authors nga nagasuporta sa imuhang concept. Wala na purpose diya. Dapat na i-or ni siya Remel, no? I-or ni mo. Dilian. No?
Pwede naman ata and lang po, sir.
Hindi lagi siya muguha.
Ano ata, sir, kay since wala ara na, sir. Or
So, wala kay na code. Kini siya,
sir.
ang kapitan na may makita na to dire. Compare siguro
Yes,
na to.
sir.
Compare. Wala yung gisulti si Kuan. Kini si Barangay ba?
Si Barangay North.
Wala siya gisulti about that. Ambot lang Barangay North wala. Kini ka.
Sa right query, sir, dapat ano ang nakabutang source title. Para dili barangay.
Ay, tama, no? Diri pa di ay, ibutang pa ni mga source title. Tapos, ibutang ni mo diri, Captain 2, no? Wala agad, wala na code, no?
Wala gyapon siya may giingon.
Naa. Na siya sense of responsibility. Ayan na. Ito sinabi ni Captain 1, ito yung sinabi ni Captain 2. So, kung imuhang butangan ni siya o references diri, halimbawa, i-add na to ning kuan. Tika. Add to diri. Pwede ba add diri kuan, no? Mel?
Source title gapon dira, sir.
Source title, tapos, ini na, complexity theory.
Yes po.
Update. Wala tayo na code sa complexity theory. So, pwede nimo i-compare diri kung daghan kag references, pwede nimo i-compare kung sa'y gisulti sa iba't ibang mga journals labahin sa sense of responsibility. Ito yung sinabi ni Kapitan, anong sinabi ni Journal 1, Journal 2, Journal 3 about that. Sa tanin mo, Ma'am Sarah? Kung mabutang lang nimo ang journal dere. So anyway, naaman tayo mga YouTube ining how to use Quercus. Just like you, I'm trying to explore this methodology. Ang alam ko lang talaga is ito yung steps, and yung Quercus can help you follow the steps faster. Tama ba, Mel?
Yes, sir. Tama, sir.
Mas dali siya kung Quercus imong gamiton kaysa imano-mano nimo ni matan kag siyam-siyam. So when you defend your thesis, ito yung hahanapin ng panel. Paano mo gi-code, paano mo gi-categorize, tama ba yung paggawa mo ng teams, ano ba yung theory na na-contribute mo, bagong theory, and then they will look at the quality of your report itself. So dyan, sa bagay na yan, trabaho na yan ng advisors ninyo to see to it that these steps are followed. Kasi ito yung scientific way of making a qualitative research. Tama ba, Sir Aldrin?
Yes, sir.
Ito yung science. So we have to follow the scientific method. So, nakaba mo yung mga pangutana? Lori, Magatilya.
Wala na po, sir. Thank you.
Kasabot na ka, Lori?
Yes, sir. Salamat, sir.
Okay, ikaw, Norardi Kademas, sabot ka?
Yes po, Dean.
So, paano to? Good luck na lang sa inyo lahat.
Thank you po.
Basta
Thank you,
ako,
Dean.
binigay ko na sa lahat sa inyo, trabaho na ninyo yan, di ba?
Yes, Dean.
Happy din.
I-guide lang man tamo sa inyong himuon. Pero,
Thank you po.
the real game, kamo na bahala. Diba, tama ba, Ruth? Ruth?
Excuse me po,
Ano?
Dean. Excuse me po, sir.
Yes, Excel.
Sir,
Opo.
yan na po ba yung sa discussion? Yan na yan lahat, yung flow, yung making a report?
Opo. Chapter 4.
Okay. Thank you po. Thank you, sir.
Kumbaga si Quercus, Siya lang yung tool ninyo para mapabilis yung steps sa qualitative research. Tama ba, Kelvin? Chisa, okay na ba? Chisa Diamante. Cheryl, patente, okay na?
Sir, i-present sa final defense both chapters 4 and 5 or 4 lang, sir?
Kuha na siya. Sa defense, you have the statement of the problem, the conceptual framework, the methodology, the findings, conclusion, and recommendation. So mga 7 na slides lang yan. 7 or 8 slides.
Sige, sir. Salamat, sir.
But you have to give a copy of your transcript 5 days before the defense. So ano ba, kung mag-schedule ka sa pizza 30, kung 30, dapat 5 days before 30, May 25, dapat natanggap na ng panel ang draft sa imong thesis. No? Then you can
Sumurot
schedule.
mahulog, sir, nga dapat May 25. Man, yun.
May 25, nanay draft report.
Sige, sir. Mag-double time lang, sir.
Kaya ba?
Kaya nan yun, sir. Para makagraduate.
So, try to budget your time. Huwag mo nang pasyal-pasyal, bilar-bilar lang sa taron. No, para makuman. Tama ba, April?
Yes po, Dean. Sir, yung conclusion and recommendation, upon defense na yan siya lalabas or gagawa din kami temporary?
Gagawa kayo ng conclusion base sa research problem. So,
Apo.
problem number 1, ano yung conclusion mo? Problem number 2, anong conclusion mo? So, isa-isa yan. Diba? Kasi doon sa
Yes,
diba sa chapter 1 naman kay kipangutana. Diba? Pagkatapos sa chapter, pag sa research, dapat balikan mo ito yung ipangutana. Natubag ba nimo o wala? Tama ba, April?
Yes, ganyan pala, Doc.
Yun naman sa recommendation, ang susulatin nyo, dalawang bagay lang. Number 1 is, what is your policy recommendation? So, nakita mo na ganun pala ang sagot ng mga katanungan mo. What policy are you recommending? Number 2, what programs should be initiated? Kasi yun naman ang findings mo, yun ang conclusion mo. Ano ngayon ang mga programa na dapat gawin?